Hello, welcome to another episode of CDRE Spotlight. I'm Laurel Starks. I am your host, and we are shining a spotlight today on Nicole Garner. I'm excited to have Nicole with us. She comes to us out of the Houston market. Specifically, she serves the Woodlands area of Houston. Nicole obtained her bachelor's degree in law and society from Penn State University in 2015. That same year, she got her real estate license, and 4 years later, she joined the iconic real estate group where she served as the director of the divorce and probate division. She has been in divorce real estate since 2019. And in 2023, she got her first certification, which is the CDS, the Certified Divorce Specialist, through the National Association of Divorce Professionals. And then in 2024, she got her CDRE through the Alumni Institute. She is no stranger to additional education and certifications, including but not limited to the Certified Luxury Home Specialist, the Real Estate Negotiation Expert credential as well. And last year, Nicole got certified through the Alumni Institute to be part of the Alumni Speakers Bureau, where she provides continuing legal education to family law attorneys. And most recently, she's just joined our CDRE Advisor Program, where she mentors new CDREs, new students who are going through the CDRE program, and demonstrates her leadership and support to them through that program. So welcome, Nicole. I'm so glad to have you here. And thank you for all that you do for our program, for your community. And let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your business. What was it like before you got into the divorce niche, and walk us through what getting into the divorce niche was all about and what your business is like now?
Sure. Thanks for the intro, Laurel. So, my business prior to going into and specializing in the divorce sector, like much of the traditional real estate side, was serving traditional buyers and sellers. Had a few investors that I worked with on a regular basis, but largely it was just serving retail clients with their needs for buying and selling real estate. And once I decided to go into divorce, it shifted my perspective completely on what was needed.
What what drove you to make that shift?
Well, after going through my own divorce, I realized how much I did not have access to the professionals that I needed going through my divorce, and really saw that as something that was a section that needed to be served. And there were many other people that were going through the same scenarios and didn't have people to give them the guidance to ask the questions that they personally didn't know needed to be asked.
What was the biggest inhibitor to you having access to those professionals?
And honestly, it was knowledge about the resources that were available. I did not know that there were professionals that specialized in real estate with divorce. And part of the largest asset in my own divorce was the house that we had that we shared.
Did you go through that experience before you became a realtor?
I did. That was prior to coming into real estate. So I had no real estate knowledge. I didn't even have the basic knowledge in what community property was. And I wasn't guided.
Well, most people don't run around understanding family law and also understanding, having tons of experience in buying and selling real estate. So that makes a lot of sense. What were some of the things that you know now that you wish you knew then?
Well, most importantly, in Texas, we are a community property state, and that's the largest sector of where people have questions. When there are shared assets, how they were acquired, when they were acquired. And so there's always a lot of question, especially when it comes to the real estate portion. If one party owns a home prior to them getting married, but then it becomes a shared primary residence, how does that impact what both parties have access to and what they should have in equity when it comes to a divorce situation?
Wow. There's a lot. There is a lot to know. And there's also a lot riding on it financially and emotionally.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So then in 2019, you got your first case.
I did. I received my first case through a mediator that I still have a wonderful relationship with. And he was connected with the brokerage that I was affiliated with at the time. And when he came to me with this need and saw that I had a background already with my bachelor's degree with legal exposure. Plus, I'd worked in various capacities in the legal industry before. He just approached me and said, "Hey, I need help with this case. Is this something you can step in and help with?" And that's where it all started.
Wow. And so you didn't run from it. You ran towards it.
Absolutely. It's very much a passion of mine to help people. I'm very empathetic by nature. And so when I see that there's an opportunity to serve in that capacity and help people through some of the most emotional and challenging times, I'm happy to do it. It feeds my soul.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this niche definitely gives you the opportunity to do that. So then you got into the business, into the divorce space in 2019, and then in 2023 is when you got your first credential. So what would you say were maybe some gaps, or what were some things that you felt that I mean you'd been doing it for quite a while, so I'm sure that you had to teach yourself quite a bit. What were some of the things that you learned through that process?
So, most immediately, I did realize that there was a need for me to understand how to navigate conflict between opposing parties, because obviously a divorce situation, the majority of the time you have parties that don't necessarily agree on things, how something should be handled, and that was my biggest motivator to diving into getting some more education, is how to navigate the conflict portion, but also to have a better understanding of the rules of civil procedure in my own area, so that I can follow along and provide documentation needed to support the family law community in keeping these files moving forward.
Wow. Um, what how has this changed your business? So what does your business look like now, since you have been in this niche?
It's changed dramatically. My business now is probably running only about 25% traditional real estate and 75% on my divorce files. And my marketing is completely different. I no longer actually directly market to retail buyers and sellers. I have a very strong referral network of past clients and other professionals that I've developed relationships with for that portion. But now that I have, especially since being on the Speakers Bureau, I have more of an ability to educate the family law community in those gaps that in the real estate portion, how it doesn't always translate back and forth equally in the legal side. So I'm able to fill those gaps for attorneys. And that's even better for me, because being able to teach to where they can serve their clients better makes the whole process better for the people who are actually going through it.
Yeah, and it's also going to have a much bigger compound effect. So if you teach one attorney who works on hundreds of cases, and can apply the education that you give them. Look at how many families ultimately have been impacted just by teaching one attorney. So
Absolutely.
that's awesome. In doing that, and throughout your experience, and in being part of the Alumni Speakers Bureau, what advice would you give to any family law attorneys who would be listening right now? What would be some advice that you give?
The most important thing that I've seen, even in my cases prior to becoming a trained CDRE, is that preparation before discovery is critical. Knowing that they need to research the details of the property itself. I've personally had a case where I was assigned, and they've been through mediation, had divided up the entire marital estate, put the house on the market. And it's not until we ran the preliminary title report we found out that there was $40,000 in tax liens attached to the property.
Wow.
So getting title searches done and even getting credit reports during discovery from both parties to make sure there aren't any other liabilities attached to the house that may not be showing on title reports is critical.
Credit report is a very underutilized little gold mine of discovery, I think. So just that little fact right there is huge, and it's accessible to everybody. That's awesome. So, Nicole, you work with, because you are now part of our advisor team, you work with realtors who are coming through the program, who many of them haven't even had the background that you came to the program with. I mean, you had 5 years of experience in this space as well as a degree in the legal space. Um, what advice would you give to a realtor who is wanting to get into the divorce niche? And what are some of the things that you're seeing that you think that realtors could be really educated on before they make the leap?
For someone who has zero exposure to the legal community or doesn't have a history working in the legal field, I would say the number one most important thing to do is to dive into your local rules of civil procedure. Understand the flow, the legal flow of a divorce case from beginning to end, because that is important so you understand where you fit into that process. But it also tells you the documentation and the preparation you're going to have to make with each one of your future file assignments to support that process.
Wow. And how do they get that? The civil procedure.
You can go sit at the courthouse for most places. Go to your local state bar, your county bar, even depending on your state. So, all of that information, for the most part, is public access. As far as visiting courtrooms, those are public access as well for most places, unless there's extenuating circumstances for that specific case. Go observe, go sit, go watch, go listen, and get curious.
Mm. And understand that you're part of a bigger process, right? When you're selling a house
Absolutely.
in a divorce, we're not just operating in a vacuum. We are one piece of a much bigger puzzle that's going on.
Absolutely. We're simply a cog in the legal machine, but our job is to support them.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Um, what advice would you give on that note? What advice would you give to someone who is getting a divorce and owns a home? What advice would you give to them as well?
I would say it's never too early to start preparing. Get your team of professionals lined up, and that can be everyone from a divorce coach to help you mitigate and manage the emotions of the process, a certified divorce real estate expert to advise you on the real estate portion, potentially a certified divorce financial analyst to help with looking at your overall financial picture. It depends on each specific situation, but you don't want to rely simply on one person because this is such a large impact on your life. Get professionals in each sector so you have a whole team to carry you through that process.
That is such great advice. That is such great advice. And I would imagine, and you can speak to it from experience, that it sounds really expensive, but it probably is more expensive to not have the expertise giving you the advice and streamlining things. It's probably more expensive to to do it that way than it is to have a team of people who are functioning in their highest and best zone and their level of expertise that can really help navigate this, because family law touches so many facets, and it's important not to just rely on your lawyer to be the expert in all those things, right?
Absolutely. Your lawyer is there to be the expert for the legal side of things. They keep your case moving forward, they file the documents, they assist with the civil procedure portion of it. But you can't expect them to be experts in financial advising or lending or real estate because that's not where they're trained to be experts.
Yeah, excellent advice. Nicole, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for being such an asset to our program, to our students coming through, to your community. You truly go out there and do the good work. So thank you very much.